When I was 17, I read a quote that went something like, "If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll most certainly be right." It made an impression on me, and since then, for the past 33 years, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no, for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. That is from Steve Jobs, Stanford University, 2005. This is Barry Canada from L3 Success and from lunchtimerecordings.com. Welcome to another episode. This is episode number 5, and the topic for today is going to be live each day as if it was your last. Steve Jobs pretty much said it all, okay? We only have so much time, on this earth. And so we need to value that time and be able to do the things that we want to do. Plan for those things that you want to do. And, for me personally, I've lost a lot of time in my life, a lot of time that I will never be able to get back, and that's the same for all of us. We'll never get time. Time is the most valued commodity out there. It's more valuable than money. It's more valuable than gold and silver and oil and other resources. It's the most valuable commodity out there. Because once you're out of time, once the sand runs through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. And so, that's something to really think about and ponder. If today was my last day, what would I do? Okay. Would I take that trip to Disneyland with the family? Would I just, take off and go to the beach? Take a cruise or travel or what is it that you would do if this was your last day, on earth? Okay. So it's something to think about. Okay. I always go back, or I have been going back recently when I talk to you guys about the stroke. That is the thing that woke me up. It's the awakening. It's the resurrection. It's the one thing that got my mind right, was that the fact that I thought that it was my last day. When I went to the hospital that day, and they're running all these tests, and I'm afraid, I'm scared, and I'm sitting in this room by myself, and this is before my wife showed up. I'm sitting in this room by myself thinking that this is it, this is my last moments. And I sat back and I thought about, all those times that I didn't do the things that I wanted to do, or the things that I didn't get the opportunity to do. And I was just, I was praying. I was actually, in tears in there before my wife actually showed up. Of course, I didn't let her see all that. But I was sitting there wondering, because, I thought I was in great health. I thought I was, my body was I thought it was okay. I'm not like overweight or anything like a lot of these people that I thought would go before me. I'm sitting there thinking like, oh, that guy, he's not going to make it. He's got, oxygen tank, next to his desk, and I see these people because I work with them. And then, one of the youngest guys, in the office is the one who ends up with the stroke. That's me. So, we just never know when it's our time to go. You may never, or you might not get that warning, before you go. And so, like I said, that was the awakening for me. It woke me up. It told me that, I need to light a fire under my butt and start doing the things that I want to do, or at least, start planning, for it to do those things. The only way I'm going to be able to do those things is if I succeed. Okay. And then that's what this is. That's what this video series is all about. It's about motivation. It's motivation for you. It's also motivation for me. It gives me goals to achieve. It gives me the opportunity to put myself out there and let people know who I am. For many years, I've hidden behind the monitor, because that's where I'm comfortable at. And now I brought myself out here in the light, and letting you guys know who I am. And you guys get to watch me grow, and I get to share with you some of my stories. And I have plenty of stories. Some of you have read some of my blog posts of some weird things that have happened to me in my life, and I like sharing those things with you guys. Except I'll now do them through video. But that's the topic for today is to live today and every day as if it was your last day. And I'm going to challenge you to do that. Think about it today. What is it that you want to do? Plan for it. And then just, make it happen. Because, again, we never know if we'll be here tomorrow. And, this is one of my favorite quotes here. And I put this on the board here for you guys. Live as though Christ died yesterday, rose from the grave today, and is coming back tomorrow. It's that's very powerful, you know. If today was your last day, if Christ was coming back to judge us tomorrow, you know, would you be in good standing? You have to think about that, because again, nobody knows the hour, you know. We just may not be here tomorrow, or, you know, tomorrow just may be the end of the world for all we know. So, you know, not to scare anybody, but just to say that it's very important, you know, that you plan out those things and just prepare to do them. Take your family out to Six Flags or Disneyland or wherever. Plan for it. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. You know, I challenge you to do that. You know, at least plan for it. You know, you may not be able to do it today, but plan for it. You know, and live, you know, today as if it was your last day. This is Barry Canada from L3 Success, lunchtimerecordings.com. Take care and God bless.
I'm pretty sure none of this would have happened if I hadn't been fired from Apple. It was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patient needed it. Sometimes life's going to hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love, and that is as true for work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking. Don't settle. My third story is about death. When I was 17, I read a quote that went something like, "If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll most certainly be right." It made an impression on me, and since then, for the past 33 years, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something. Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. About a year ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. I had a scan at 7:30 in the morning, and it clearly showed a tumor on my pancreas. I didn't even know what a pancreas was. The doctors told me this was almost certainly a type of cancer that is incurable, and that I should expect to live no longer than 3 to 6 months. My doctor advised me to go home and get my affairs in order, which is doctor's code for prepare to die. It means to try and tell your kids everything you thought you'd have the next 10 years to tell them in just a few months. It means to make sure everything is buttoned up so that it will be as easy as possible for your family. It means to say your goodbyes. I lived with that diagnosis all day. Later that evening, I had a biopsy where they stuck an endoscope down my throat, through my stomach and into my intestines, put a needle into my pancreas and got a few cells from the tumor. I was sedated, but my wife, who was there, told me that when they viewed the cells under a microscope, the doctors started crying because it turned out to be a very rare form of pancreatic cancer that is curable with surgery. I had the surgery, and thankfully, I'm fine now. This was the closest I've been to facing death, and I hope it's the closest I get for a few more decades. Having lived through it, I can now say this to you with a bit more certainty than when death was a useful but purely intellectual concept. No one wants to die. Even people who want to go to heaven don't want to die to get there. And yet, death is the destination we all share. No one has ever escaped it. And that is as it should be, because death is very likely the single best invention of life. It's life's change agent. It clears out the old to make way for the new. Right now, the new is you. But someday, not too long from now, you will gradually become the old and be cleared away. Sorry to be so dramatic, but it's quite true. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. When I was young, there was an amazing publication called the Whole Earth Catalog, which was one of the Bibles of my generation. It was created by a fellow named Stuart Brand, not far from here in Menlo Park, and he brought it to life with his poetic touch. This was in the late 60s, before personal computers and desktop publishing, so it was all made with typewriters, scissors, and Polaroid cameras. It was sort of like Google in paperback form 35 years before Google came along. It was idealistic, overflowing with neat tools and great notions. Stuart and his team put out several issues of the Whole Earth Catalog, and then, when it had run its course, they put out a final issue. It was the mid-1970s, and I was your age. On the back cover of their final issue was a photograph of an early morning country road, the kind you might find yourself hitchhiking on if you were so adventurous. Beneath it were the words, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." It was their farewell message as they signed off. Stay hungry, stay foolish. And I have always wished that for myself. And now, as you graduate to begin anew, I wish that for you. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Thank you all very much.